This next section we're going to talk about is money that was based on COVID relief. Let's just kind of give a background on both of these acts. The CARES Act, if you remember, was passed back in March, and it was signed in by the administration on March 27th. A part of that CARES Act money was allocated to the Department of Education, $30 billion. And what that $30 billion did and what the Department of Education ended up doing was they established 4 grant programs. And those 4 grant programs, again, there will not be a test on this, but it's the ESSERF, the ESF, the JERF, and the HERF. And what we're really going to focus on today is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund. And back in March, there was over $13 billion that was allocated for K through 12 education for schools. And this is not just music money. So while we would love all this money to go towards music and arts programs, no, this is for every education, not just music. Okay, so let's talk about CRRSA. Back in December, right after Christmas last year, the Sirsa Act was passed and signed into law, and the money from CRRSA was allocated to the Department of Education in the amount of over $81 billion, billion with a B. So with this, they continued funding 3 grant programs. Again, the ESSERF, the JERF, and the HERF. But if you look at that elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund, there was $54 billion that was allocated to K through 12 education. Okay, so let's just kind of recap that. The original March bill, over 13 billion. The CRRSA Act added 54 billion to that. Remember, this money is separate from Title IV funds. This is a one-time allocation, and there are spending deadlines. So on the first bill, the money needs to be spent by the end of July. There may be some time that is going to expand on that. We're not sure. You know, the laws are the deadlines are always changing. So just be aware of that. But there are deadlines on when this money needs to be used. And don't forget, if you don't use this money, it goes back to the government. So we need to, be asking questions. A couple notes about this law. Religious schools can apply for this money. So if you are a religious school or work at a religious school, you can apply for this money if you are a 501c3 school. And for-profit, non-public schools are not eligible for these funds. All right, so in recap, it's $64.5 billion, billion with a B, for K through 12 education, okay? So how can these funds be used? And this is directly from the bill the act that was written. These funds can be used for tools and resources for distance education and learning. So start thinking outside the box. Does that mean you could buy drumsticks for all of your students and practice pads? Can you buy recorders, ukuleles, iPads? I mean, the sky's the limit. You can start really thinking about how this money can be used for this distance education, ensuring student health and safety. So does that mean buying mouthpieces for everyone, so no one's sharing mouthpieces? Or even in an orchestra, buying extra instruments. If you have 2 orchestra classes, instead of the students sharing instruments, could you send everyone home with an instrument? At the end of last year, the government created this dashboard. And this dashboard, I'm going to show you screenshots of the website so you can understand it. This dashboard is showing how this money is being allocated and who it's being allocated to. So this website just has the original $13 billion from the CARES Act. This does not include CRRSA Act money. That money was just allocated in mid-January. So that will be adding to this. But if you look at this map here, you can go ahead and click on any of these states and start to see what was allocated. So let's look at Georgia. So remember, this is just the original CARES Act money. And as of September 30th, 14.6% of that money has been spent. So there is still a lot of money at the state level and maybe at the local level for funds for your programs. Okay, so let's go down further. As I scroll down the site, you can dig into a little bit more specifics. You can see when the money was allocated, how much was allocated, how much was spent. And then you can go down and let's just pick, for instance, I'm going to just pick Clark County School District. You can start to see at the local level, the LEA is your local education authority or your school board. There was $5 million allocated to Clark County. So let's click this little eye over here and dig deeper, and you can start to see, okay, there's what was allocated. Here's our enrollment numbers, our breakdown of our race, ethnicity, and then I can click over here and get more information. So that takes me to this website and I get more information about it. So this is all data. This is all things that will help you support your case for why you need this money. Ed.gov is a great resource. So this is the specific page for the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, ESSERF. And on this page, there's the website. On this page, you can see as you go down the page, there are updates to this. So there was the Sr2 Fact Sheet. So, and the fact sheet compares and contrasts what ESSERF 1 versus ESSERF 2. It also gives you all of the deadlines to apply for this money. So a great website that has a ton of information. And it's not all government speak. It's not all, very big contracts. It is very factual, precise language that is being laid out for you. So there's that. And what I want to point you out, and this is just a screenshot of the website. So as I'm scrolling down this website, there is an email address. And surprisingly enough, they respond within 24 hours. I have sent them numerous messages and they get back to you right away. So if you have a specific question, if your principal has a specific question about the funding, can I use this? Can I do that? Email them. They will send you information and be glad to work with you. So that is a great resource, ESSERF at ed.gov. It's all on those website. So let's talk about the key steps. What do I need to do to get money? Show me how to get the money. Number one, do your research. You've got those two websites. I put the ed.gov website on there instead of that long URL. And they have a great search engine. So if you're looking for ESSERF money, go to ed.gov, type in ESSER money, it'll take you to that website. If you're looking for HARF money, if you're looking for any resources, it's a great search engine. Start collecting your data. Start, putting together a plan of how you can go and talk to your principal. Create that plan. And then start building a list. How can you use this money to help your students be more engaged, to get instruments into their hands, right? And then once you have that plan, start asking questions. Meet with your principal. The principal may not know about this money. This money, we've talked and done this presentation at many state conferences and talked to many people across the US, and a lot of people don't know this money is out there. So by asking those questions, hey, do you know that there's over $64 billion in COVID relief money that is out there for education? You start asking those questions and then having that plan. So not only asking the questions, but saying, I would love to get my students all ukulele so that I could teach them. I would love to get them XYZ. So you have that plan. And then the principal can start to meet with the board, your school board, with the superintendent. You can also, like Heather said earlier, work with your local education authority and start to talk to the people in there that write these grants, because they know about this and they can help you get the money. And then stay tuned. With COVID relief funds, there's still money coming down. The current administration presented a plan in mid-January called the American Rescue Plan. And the American Rescue Plan has $130 billion in additional COVID funding. Now, most of that will go to student health and safety with COVID tests and COVID vaccines for schools. but there's no reason that some of that money can't go towards sanitation. You know, could we put sanitation machines in band rooms so that you could sanitize instruments? Could you buy everyone mouthpieces? I mean, you just have to start asking the questions, coming up with that plan. And then what I would suggest after you've done that is, if you get some of this money, let us know. We would love to advocate for you and help other people get that money. So they're all on all these slides are emails at the bottom. It's also on the resource guide, so you can connect with us. But let us know if you're getting this money. We would love to share your successes with other people as well.